shouldn't date broke women. Men shouldn't date broke women because what does broke people do? They bring chaos. They bring confusion. They bring anger. They bring jealousy. And they bring entitlement.
She is absolutely right. But we do not have these conversations. It's usually one-sided about men being broke and nobody looking at careers and statistics and the odds and things that I don't mind sharing. Anyways, you know what it is. You're tuning in to Thoughts of Dizzy right here on the Epic Lounge Network with yours truly, Dizzy D.Spill. Let's let this young lady finish her point.
If you're dating somebody who's broke, how would you ever make more money? How would you ever grow past that ceiling? How would you ever leave your comfort zone?
Now, she might be sounding a little harsh, but I know what she means. But I'm going to speak to more of when she said men shouldn't date broke women. I agree, because I don't think that women should date broke men. But we need to define broke, don't you think? So let's get this out of the way. Ladies and gentlemen, what is a broke man and what is a broke woman? Now, if you've reached this part of the video and you would like to share your idea and see at the end if our ideas of what broke looks like, then let's do it. My definition, I think there's different tiers of broke, but they all have the same results, right? So you can be responsible broke. You're not really earning enough, but you're paying your bills, you're getting your groceries, you're getting everything that you need. And when everything is done, paying for the bare necessities and taking care of what you're supposed to take care of, you are at that point broke. Then you have the rob Peter to pay Paul broke. And then you also have I can never take care of my own responsibilities myself broke, which means you always need help with bills and you always need to borrow money and you don't really pay the money back and all this other stuff. So my question to you, men and women, those are levels of broke. Okay. Would you date any of them? That's my question. Now, my other thing is let's talk about broke women for a minute, because it's never framed that way. When it comes to men, if you are not able to pay for certain things, hell, even when it comes to the date and contributing to the relationship, you don't even have to be living together. If you're not able to provide an experience for a woman, you are considered broke to many women. But let's talk about what makes women broke. Do women that have roommates, are they considered broke? Fellas, let me know what you think. And ladies, you can let me know what you think too, because you might have some very interesting opinions on this. But what makes a woman broke? You know, does she get to fall under the 3 tiers of broke that I said? Here's the thing. I think the most important thing about being broke and being rich is knowing where those 2 things should be. You can be physically broke, but you can be mentally rich to where you get yourself out of poverty, or you get yourself into some wealth, or you just get yourself in a comfortable situation. There's a lot of people that have money, that have capital, and they are mentally and spiritually broke. If you don't believe me, look at a lot of the politicians. Look at a lot of the celebrities. Look at some of these influencers that tripped and fell over great opportunities and don't know what to do with them, or consistently lose them and abuse them. There's different levels to it. Now, I do think that if you're the type of person that works hard and you have integrity and you have a good heart and you take your quarter and you take your partner and they take their quarter and you rub that 50 cents together to figure out how to make it $1, then you can grow together. But the one thing I will kind of disagree with what Sweetheart is saying over here is that's not always the case, as far as in if you're broke, you're pretty much not going to make it. You're just going to stay broke, because certain people can bring things to you that are outside of finances that could help you flourish, right? A very domestic woman that is very intelligent and her awareness is on point could be a huge asset to a very rich man who needs guidance when it comes to remaining sane, remaining human, and still having a heart. Women contribute so much to a man's life. It's insane. But at the same time, the broke ones are a drain. Yes, the broke men or the broke women are definitely a drain. And it's interesting because a lot of men don't really get flack for that. They don't get flack for being with a woman because she's broke, but women do. It's interesting. Let me let her finish in this clip and then we can keep it rocking.
Men shouldn't date broke women and women shouldn't date broke men, because if you're broke, that's a reflection of your character. If you're broke, that's a reflection of your ambition. That's
not always the case, because there's a lot of people that bounce back. I would never want to say that was a reflection of their character or anything. If you guys seen the movie Pursuit to Happiness with Will Smith, it had nothing to do with that man's character. That woman's wife left him with the baby to go do her thing. Dude was sleeping in bathrooms and all kinds of stuff to take care of his boy, and he finally made it. And it was his character that got him out of being broke. But while he was broke, he was going through it. So we can't say he didn't have character, right? You hear a lot of these stories. A lot of these artists from the 90s had the same story where they took their last $300 to $700 and went down to LA and made it. They were broke around that time. Hell, TLC was singing about No Scrubs, and they were broke when they was recording that record. That album got them back where they needed to be. So let that sink in. Crazy, right? Anyways, yeah, I disagree with her on that. But as far as the broke women, I'm going to stay on that one. Fellas, don't be dating no broke women, because the women, they already letting it be known they ain't dealing with no broke man. They ain't been dealing with broke men since I was a little kid. Let's keep going through this real quick.
Reflection of your laziness, because we all have the same 24 hours. It's so many ways to get money. It's so many ways to get money. So people should have that standard of not dating broke people, not because you're being money hungry, you want to take their money, but you looking at this person's character. So if you're dating somebody with that type of mindset,
again, if we start defining people's character off of money, I mean, you see how far it's getting us right now. Just if that went over your head, it's all right. But let's go ahead and let's let her finish with the second part.
That type of finance to show for it, that says everything. I was broke before. My whole family was broke before.
So does that mean all of y'all have bad character? Y'all didn't have good character? Nah, sweetie, I don't agree with that. I don't think, even when you were broke at your time, when people are broke, I don't think that it has anything to do with their character. Some people, things happen to them, and when it rains, it pours. And I've been in that situation in my 20s. I've been in that situation where everything caved in, and I was like, for what? If this is life, for what? And it was a very rough time. And I remember telling my wife at the time, when we were just dating, I said, man, I'm not being humble enough. I said, I think these things are all happening to me because I'm not being humble enough. That was just my personal experience. I think I shared that on the Notion before. But anyways, no, it's not a character. It's not a reflection of your character at all. That's not fair to yourself, and that's not fair to other people to say that. It's just people do run into hard times. I mean, look at the economy right now. It's our character on why we're struggling, why things are expensive. No, that's not right. I don't agree with that.
But my character, my willpower, my discipline made me get up every.
So the same thing. She kind of throwing me off, man. I'm with her with a lot, but she kind of throwing me off, because you can't say that something, you're in a position because of your character, and then when you get yourself out of that position, it's because of your character that got you out. I think these things build character. Yeah. I think struggle, and I'm not the author of that. I've heard that before, that a lot of tough times and things that you go through, it builds character. I mean, I lost my father at a very young age, and that had me looking at life a whole lot differently around that time. I was a young man. I was just coming into being a young man, coming of age when that happened, and it definitely did something to my character for the positive in the long run. but the negative in the earlier parts. But yeah, I think your character is what gets you through broke times and stuff like that, which goes to the conversation with a lot of these women. A lot of these women are broke, and they have developed bad character out of being broke, to where you have conversations about, well, I don't want to do this with a man, or I'm not splitting nothing with a man. I'll pay 100 by myself, and da, 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 and how you gonna be broke, and all of this other stuff, and you need to live here and drive this. Yeah, it develops that character. You look at these athletes, these young athletes dating a lot of these older women that are celebrities or vixens or whatever the hell you want to call it, and they're completely taking advantage of the beginning of their life. It's almost like they have envy or they have anger because the rapper that they were dealing with when they were young didn't come through for them. So now they're about to take from these young athletes. And I worry about them. I worry about young athletes and entertainers when they're dealing with these women that have been in the game for a long time, because they finna come with it. They finna get knocked up, and they finna get that paycheck out of you. So no, don't date broke women, because these broke dudes, they don't have a chance. If they have a chance, it's because they are broke and they don't look broke. They got height, they got looks, and that's enough temporarily, but it will be a temporary thing. Yeah. Don't date broke women. Date kind women. Take your time and pick women with substance. Stop chasing looks, man. Them looks will get you in some situations, homeboy. Not all of them, but most of them. They will get you in some situations. But don't date broke women, straight up, because these women will tell other women, don't date no broke man. And you've had decade after decade of TLC and Destiny's Child and everyone else saying this about men. No, do not date broke women. And I love the fact that it's a woman saying this. She probably knows and understands some things, got some homegirls or some people that she used to be cool with that was moving on some broke stuff and trying to project that energy on the person that's more responsible than them. So don't date no broke women. Fellas, don't date no broke women. I don't care what kind of gaslight, reverse psychology they do. Don't date them, because if it was the other way around, they would not rock with you. It's just like a super bad female and a dude that really don't have it together. She ain't gonna pay that dude no type of attention because he ain't got nothing going for himself. You know what I'm saying? And so when you get on that level where you have things going on with you, and that same girl looking at you like, oh, I see the glow, you're like, okay, well, I'm glad you're looking at the stars. I'm out of here. I ain't got time for you. So, that's how you gotta spin it, man. So I agree with her. Don't date no broke women, but let's define the word also, because people call anything broke. If you can't go out the country, you broke. And you ain't got no passport, you broke. And set aside the material standards that you have for yourself or that you have for others that you don't have for yourself, either or. And let's talk about mentally broke, spiritually broke, as well as physically broke. What is your definition? I asked for that earlier. So let me know in the comment section, ladies, fellas, what is your true definition of broke? And how do you feel about what she said? I agree with her. Don't date broke women, because, the message is for women not to date broke men. Anyways, this is Thoughts of Dizzy right here on the Epic Lounge Network. You know what it is. If this is your first time, turn the notifications on at the bell right after you subscribe, so you can keep up with content from me right here every week. Until next time, peace.